What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is pretty important, and I really hope that Blizzard does consider doing this, because to be completely honest, the Burning Crusade is an amazing experience. It's my favorite expansion of all time. I do just feel like this time around, since we're in the anniversary version of the game, that we do need some changes, right? Some slight changes to make the expansion feel a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more accessible for the casual player, and a little bit more fun for the sweaty, pumper type of player. So without further ado, let's jump into this. We're going to do a little bit of a walk and talk. So we're on my Paladin. This is my third level 70 alt that just hit 70 less than 48 hours ago. We're mainly doing PvP on this character, but we're going to be, for PvE, we're going to be tanking and stuff like that. But anyways, for the purposes of this video, I want to talk about a few different things, right? Now, there's been a lot of chatter around TBC Anniversary of things that Blizzard should be changing, things that Blizzard should be adding, and the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about that, this one is, I pretty much have seen everyone agree with this take, and this is that we should be getting badges from the Phase 1 raids in Phase 2. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this is something that comes to the Burning Crusade later on. I think it comes in the Zulaman phase, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's where it happens, where Karazhan, every boss in Karazhan, was dropping, badges for you to then go ahead and use on badge gear. That's a little bit too far in the distance, in my opinion. I do feel like if we saw this a little bit earlier, it would help with, the replayability of the game, especially for people who want to play alts. I don't think this would harm the game in any way, shape, or form, and I think it would just be an overall improvement to how the game feels, and make it a little bit more alt-friendly, which we know Blizzard wanted to do with this version of TBC, right? Doing, account-wide heroic attunements and raid attunements. I think that's been a massive W. Something like this, like moving up the fact that you can get badges from Phase 1 raids, would definitely increase replayability and definitely make it a little bit more alt-friendly for everybody. I think that would be fantastic. So that's something that they should definitely look into. Because here's the thing. People don't realize that, and this kind of goes with point number 2 that I want to get into as well. So we'll state that first, and then I'll explain why this stuff is important. Point number 2 would be maybe an updated badge vendor, different than we're used to. Okay, and when I say that, I mean things like Don't crucify me on this. I already have my DST, but things like DST being on a badge vendor, lightning capacitor being on a badge vendor, stuff like that. And while, yes, this would probably delete some Gruul runs, it wouldn't delete all of them. People would still run Gruul because, let's say DST was 200 badges. That's a pretty big grind. So people would still be doing their weekly Gruul, trying to get their DST. The only thing that this would also do is help keep those Phase 1 raids alive, because the reality of the situation is, as we move into Phase 2, SSE and TK are going to take up easily double or triple the amount of time that you spent raiding in Phase 1. Probably more like triple or, quadruple the amount of time you spent raiding in Phase 1. So this would also help to keep those Phase 1 raids alive on people's alts. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to farm Kara every week. I want those badges. That's a lot of badges from there. And I'll still do my Gruul and try and get DST. And if by the time I've done my 5th or 6th Gruul, I haven't seen my DST, maybe I saved up 200 badges and I can get it. I don't think this hurts the game in any way. I do think it makes the game a little bit more balanced and a little bit more fun, so that not everything you're doing is a waste of time if you're having really bad luck. It's kind of like a bad luck protection system over a course of, multiple weeks, which I think is really, really healthy, especially in an anniversary version of the game where we're kind of just celebrating, how good this version of the game was. It doesn't need to be a one-to-one copy of the original, and I'd argue that it's not even close at this point. So why not make more changes that make the game more fun? This is not original Burning Crusade. In original Burning Crusade, you couldn't pay $60 and just have a level 58 over and over and over again. So anyone, if that is your argument that no, that's not how it was in the Burning Crusade, this is nothing like the original Burning Crusade. I played the original in 2007. I played the redo in 2021, and I'm playing this for the 3rd time. This is the furthest thing from the original. So let's just make it fun, right? I don't see anything wrong with that. So number 1 and number 2 were badges from Phase 1 raids when Phase 2 launches, and then number 2 was an updated badge vendor to, kind of make it so that people can farm these things that were from P1 raids without actually having to do the raid or getting lucky with the drop. Like, doing the raid is still going to give them a ton of badges, so they'll probably still do the raid, but that bad luck protection is there, and it will just make it feel a lot better, because right now, with the way the Burning Crusade is, on an alt, you're just playing catch up the entire time. You know, if you're 10 weeks in or 11 weeks in, like we're about to be here, you're just playing catch up the whole time. There's no way you could ever compete on your alt with people who have been playing since week 1 of raids. This would kind of eliminate that and make it so that, you know what, there is some bad luck protection, and the time you're putting in is spent really well, and you're earning something for the time that you're playing the game. I don't see anything wrong with it. And let me know down in the comments below, please. You know, I want to hear both sides of this, but I do think it would be a really good thing for the game. And number 3 that I want to talk about, and I know this one is going to be controversial to you guys, that is going to be that I personally think when Phase 2 launches, heroics need to be tuned down to their nerfed state. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Heroics are worse than the raids. I don't think it's fun content doing them in their post-nerf state at all. It was fun the first time through back in 2007 when you have, you know, this is like, it is a grind to find a single heroic pug if you're not running with your guild. And I'm talking about pugs, and that's how most people play the game. Finding a pug that can clear a heroic in under 2 hours is almost non-existent. Sometimes you get lucky. That's why I'm tanking on my paladin in PvE, so that I can kind of control it. And I've had a little bit better luck, but on my warrior, let me tell you, that was not fun. I think that pre-nerfed heroics are just not a fun time. The content itself, boring as all hell. It's not fun. It takes extremely long, and it's extremely frustrating when someone in your group just really doesn't understand the concept of CC. You die 5 or 6 times, and then they now leave after you killed the first boss, and you wasted your entire lockout for that heroic. It's just not fun gameplay. I think it has no point in being in the game. Can I clear pre-nerfed heroics? Yes, with my eyes closed, with my group of friends, but most people play the game with pugs, and you have to realize that. So I personally think that heroics should be nerfed down to their nerfed state moving into Phase 2. I think this would also make it a lot more alt-friendly, and it would actually coincide with the first 2 things that I talked about. The game would just be more fun to play. Nobody is sitting here playing the Burning Crusade on the 3rd time for a challenge, and anyone who thinks that you're here for a challenge, I don't know what you're doing. You should just go play retail or go raid and mop. Go raid Siege of Orgrimmar. The Burning Crusade is not challenging in any way. It is a massive grind and a massive time sink. That is the challenge, right? Nothing in here is actually hard mechanically. And if you are playing the Burning Crusade for that, you want a mechanically hard challenge, you're playing the wrong version of World of Warcraft Classic. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. So let's just make it fun. Right? Fun is what people are here playing the game for. And if you're one of the sweats who wants it to be hard and challenging, please just relax, because you are the reason why the drop-off will happen and the player drop-off will happen. It doesn't need to be hard. I sweat on my main and all that, and I'll be completely honest with you, I don't need any of this to be any more challenging or whatever. The time sink alone is enough. The time commitment you need to run literally just 2 heroics after you get home from work is almost impossible for the normal player, because they could take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2-3 hours for a single heroic, and that's just not fun. If they were nerfed down to their nerfed state, they're a lot easier. You know, it's still a grind. You're still grinding your badges. You still have to go in there with a group. Some cases you still have to CC a little bit, but it's just clearable and more accessible to the casual player, which I think the Burning Crusade Anniversary has proved to us that most of the player base playing this, aside from like the 10% of the population that is veterans and sweats, there's a lot of new players here that really are just learning the game for the first time. And what happens is it creates this dynamic of, like, you have these sweaty players trying to grind heroics and these casuals trying to learn them. And when you mash that together, you get really, really bad stuff happening, right? People are angry at the new guy because they don't know what they're doing. You're wasting the sweaty guy's time. The new guy's like, hey, man, I'm just trying to learn whatever. And the new guy's like, well, you should have learned 20 years ago. And it's just, it creates a mess. There's no reason for this. Nobody's here for a challenge. Just nerf the heroics. Put them back to their nerfed state, so everyone can just farm them, farm up their badges, and have a good time. I've said this over and over again that I think this version of the Burning Crusade, since it's the anniversary version of the game, should just be fun. It should just be about celebrating the Burning Crusade and how great of an expansion it was. It should not be about any of this weird stuff. Like, I don't understand some of the decisions we've made here. And I really do hope that they kind of go back on some of them and revert them, because I don't think long-term wise they're going to be good for the health and the population of the game. But I do want to know what you guys think about this stuff. Again, I'm in the middle, right? I could play at a sweaty level. I got my 99s and all that on my main, but I do see the side for the casuals and where this stuff could be just a pain to do and just not fun. And to be honest, me as a WoW player and someone who loves WoW, I think that the game should just be accessible at this point. I'm not here for a challenge. Can I take on any challenge? Absolutely. And I'll probably beat most people at it because I'm just insanely competitive, and I will just hammer down and learn everything that I need to learn in any game that I play. But I'm talking about just fun. People want to have fun. People want to look back at this experience and be like, wow, Burning Crusade, I played it for the first time in 2026 on its third re-release, and I had a damn good time. That is what we want, right? If we want Classic WoW to live and prosper, that's the mentality that we need to have. So, Sweats, while it's in this state, I do encourage you, be a little bit more patient with the newer or casual players. You know, it is a lot for someone who's never played this game before. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot of things that, you know, come second nature to you if you've been playing for 20 plus years, but to them, this is new, right? So you got to remember that and try and be welcoming and try and, you know, be a good member of the community and almost Sherpa these people through the content sometimes. You know, if you're wasting your time anyway and you're stuck in there with that lockout, instead of being a jerk, just sit there and, you know, maybe explain to them what they're doing wrong. That's all I'm trying to say. But either way, guys, drop some comments down below. I want to know what you guys think about these 3 things that I think personally would make the Burning Crusade, you know, 5 times better overnight if they change this stuff. So let me know. We'll get into some good discussions down below in the comments. Follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerdance. I stream Monday through Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And subscribe to the channel if you love Classic WoW just as much as me. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.